Hello and welcome to our 21st session, and in this session we are going to build our pre-production setup using AI. In our previous session we have installed Ollama and OpenWeb UI. However, in case of film production, we want a story or a novel to be converted into screenplay. We want to convert a particular sequence in the story into shot by shot bifurcation, and we have to create this screenplay, and later on this screenplay has to be categorized into different artists, different properties, different location, whether it is indoor or outdoor, this entire production planning. And later on, when you want to create images and videos in Comfy UI or in any of the model, what prompts has to be created? All this we need a local LLM. We are going to build a complete local LLM setup which is in part with the latest ChatGPT or Gemini cloud services. And as we talk, Google has recently launched Gemma 4, and this is a very powerful model and also a new technology called as TurboQuant, which makes large language models run efficiently even on simple PCs or even on simple laptop with an NVIDIA 4000 series or 5000 series cards. Even NVIDIA 3000 series cards can be used to run these Gemma 4 models. So now I am going to explain in detail what is this Gemma 4 and what is this TurboQuant technology in our future session. But in this session, let us first upgrade our Ollama for the latest Gemma 4 version, and then we are going to install another package today called as AnythingLLM. AnythingLLM work on RAG. RAG means Retrieval Augmented Generation, where we feed thousands of pages of documents like a film story or a research material, and we ask the AI to bifurcate into screenplays or create a study guide or create a research analysis. And for all these applications, we use RAG. And one of the most powerful RAG tool that we use today is AnythingLLM. It works similar to Google Notebook LM. And in this session, we are going to first update our Ollama and install Gemma 4. And later on, we are going to install AnythingLLM in a customized location using Docker. In our previous session, we had installed Ollama, and now to test which version of Ollama is running, I will come into this Windows, and in the search, I am going to search for PowerShell and run this as administrator, and I am going to type the command Ollama 2-version. And if I press enter, I have the Ollama latest version 20.2. When we previously installed Ollama, the version that we used was 0.19, and in that version we cannot pull or we cannot install Gemma 4. By chance, if you see 0.19 here and if it has not been updated, open your browser, type here and search for Ollama, and the very first link is ollama.com. Click on it. We had previously installed it using this IRM command. To update it to the latest version, you can come to download, and in Windows, you have an option download for Windows. Click on this option and it is going to download Ollama setup.exe file. Now it is downloaded. I can click on open folder and just double click this Ollama setup.exe to install the latest version. And the latest version is 0.20.3. We have 0.20.2. To update it to 20.3, I will just click on the install button and wait for the installation to complete. The installation is complete, and if you come into the settings, you can see that the model location is set to DAI Studio Ollama models, and in the context length, I will set it to 8K and click on the save button. Now I will close Ollama. Even if you close it, it will be running. You can come here in the system tray and you can see Ollama running here. I will come back to my PowerShell. If I type Ollama 2 hyphens version and check it, you can see it is now version 20.3. Our next mission is to download the latest Gemma 4 model. So I will come back into the browser and I will type Ollama Gemma 4 and press enter. And the very first link here, I will click on this link to open and get all the details about Gemma 4. And you can see different models available based on the machine you are going to use. Basically, if you have less RAM, you can make use of Gemma 4 E2B or E4B. This Gemma 4 E4B is used on almost all the laptops and it runs on any of the machine with at least around 8 GB of RAM and at least 4 GB of VRAM. It will run efficiently. However, if you want to run Gemma 4 26B or Gemma 4 31B, you should have at least 10 GB of RAM. Now, as of now, the machine on which I am now installing is a MSI Katana machine. This is an Intel i9 processor with installed RAM of 32 GB. Come into this NVIDIA icon in the system tray, right click and choose NVIDIA control panel, and if you open it and if you come to home, I have 4060 laptop, and if I click on system information for RTX 4060, if you scroll down, it has dedicated video memory of 8188 MB, which is nothing but 8 GB. So in this case, it is always better to install the E4B model. However, I am going to use the 26B version. I will now close the settings. I will come back to PowerShell, and in PowerShell, I am going to download the version by using the command Ollama, then pull, and I am going to pull Gemma 4 26B version and press or enter. It is going to download 18 GB of data. This is around 17 to 18 GB of size. Wait till this entire model is now downloaded. Now the installation is successful. I will close my PowerShell. I will come into the system tray and I will right click on Ollama icon and click on open Ollama. I can come into setting and you have expose Ollama to the network. I will enable this option. I will click allow if it asks for firewall permission. I can now choose this Gemma 4 26B and start using this AI. I will close Ollama. Now our next step is to install AnythingLLM. I will open the browser and type AnythingLLM. Now the very first link is AnythingLLM.com. I can click here and you have download for desktop link. And if I click here, I can download for Windows into 64 version and right away start using it. However, in my case, I doesn't want AnythingLLM to be installed on the C drive, but I want it on the D drive. And I want this to run not directly, but through the Docker. I will close my browser, come into my Windows search, open my Windows PowerShell, either my Windows default PowerShell or the PowerShell 7 which we had installed around 2-3 sessions before. I will open this. I am now going to create a folder. So normally when we create the folder, I can directly come into Windows File Explorer. I can come into my PC D. I will come into AI Studio and here I can directly create the folder. Instead of creating the folder using this UI, we are going to create it using the commands. So I will come back to PowerShell. To create a new folder using the command, I am going to type new-item, where N and I are capital. Type a space, then hyphen, I capital, item, type, then directory. I want to create a directory. Then add hyphen force. In version 7 of PowerShell, you can see it will immediately show me the prompt about what I have to type. I have to mention the path where I want this directory to be created. So I will add hyphen path and in inverted comma, I want this in D drive, // in AI Studio, / I want this AnythingLLM, end it with inverted comma. Press enter, you will have this display. That is, directory DAI Studio is created. If I doesn't want this, I have to use another command called outNull. So right now, if you come back into DAI Studio, you can see AnythingLLM folder is created. So we have created this using this command. Next, I want to create one file here that is a .env file. Now type here new -item, N and I are capital, then -item type. This time the type of item I need is file, -force it so that even if the file is present, it will not show any error. -path, again I will add inverted comma, and this time d:\AI Studio /AnythingLLM and the file I want to create is .env, end it with inverted comma. I will add the vertical bar, that is with shift press the key that is above your enter button in the keyboard. Then press space, type out-null. And if you press enter, it is not going to show any display here. However, if you come into your folder AnythingLLM, you can see the .env file created here. Now our AnythingLLM folder and .env file is ready. We could have created it easily in this Explorer, but I have just shown you how you can use different commands to create it from the command line. The next part is to get the AnythingLLM image to my machine, because we are going to install it using Docker. I want Docker to be running in my machine. So let us first launch the Docker. Either you can launch the Docker from the desktop by clicking on the shortcut, or you can come into Windows search and search for Docker. You have Docker desktop, click on open. Now the Docker engine is starting, and you can see in the container, we already have this Open Web UI container which we installed it in our previous session, and we have attached 3000 port here. And in this session, I am going to install AnythingLLM, and before I do the install, I have to pull this Docker image from the internet. This Docker image will be present in the internet in the GitHub repository. Here, if you come into GitHub, you can see that in the Mintex Labs account, you have this AnythingLLM repository, and you can see here the Docker folder clearly shows that this is a Docker image. Close my browser. I will come back to PowerShell command prompt, and to pull this, I will come back to PowerShell, and in this command prompt, I will type docker pull, and what I have to pull is the AnythingLLM Docker image from the GitHub. If you come to the browser and type AnythingLLM GitHub, and if you press enter, the very first link you see here is Minplex Lab AnythingLLM GitHub repository. So if you click on this, we have our Docker image of AnythingLLM in this GitHub account of Minplex Lab. So now I have to pull it from here. So I will now close my browser, come back into PowerShell, and now I will call this Minplex Labs. This is the GitHub account, /AnythingLLM is the repository, I want to pull the latest version. Then if I press enter, you can now see this will be pulled. All the content that you were seeing in the GitHub repository will now be pulled to your hard disk. Wait till this download process is complete, then it will be extracted, and then you will see it as pull complete. So now you can see that the pull process is over, and once the pull process is over, you can come back to Docker desktop, and if you come into the images, you can now see this Minplex Labs AnythingLLM image has been downloaded, but this image is not loaded as a container. In Docker desktop, you can directly click run here and load it as the container. But if you do so, AnythingLLM will run in its default directory. But I want AnythingLLM to be loaded and all its data to be stored in a custom directory DAI Studio. So in that case, I am going to run this AnythingLLM through my command line. Come back to PowerShell command prompt and I will type CLS and press enter to clear my screen. I am going to type Docker. Instead of pull, now I will use run -d, 2 hyphens name, and I am going to call this as AnythingLLM. Then press space, add 2 hyphen, give the command restart always. Then -p represents the port number. Press space, and if you come to Docker desktop and if you come to container, you can see for Open Web UI, we are using port number 3000. I will come back to PowerShell. For AnythingLLM, I will use 3001. The container insider port also I will set it to 3001. Then I will add 2 hyphen cap hyphen add, then sys_admin in capital. Then I will add -v. This is nothing but I am now going to add the volume. I will press space and in inverted comma, I am going to first set the path where my AI Studio content has to be stored. So in this case, I want it in d:/AI Studio/AnythingLLM folder. This is the folder where I want my AnythingLLM content to be stored. I will add colon and this should be mapped to my AnythingLLM default folder, that is /app/server/storage. End the inverted comma. So what is happening here is the app server storage is the default AnythingLLM folder and it is mapped to my AI Studio AnythingLLM. I will press space and add -v and again inverted comma, and I have to now set my environment file. So for that again add /AI Studio /AnythingLLM, then /, and we had created an environment file .env, and I have to map this to :/app/server/.env. End it with inverted comma. I will press space -e and I have to set my storage_directory and I will set this equal to in inverted comma /app/server/storage, end it with inverted comma, and giving all these parameters. Now what I have to run? It is Mintplex Labs /AnythingLLM : the latest version. This command I have also provided this to you on the YouTube description and also in the Patreon page. If you have any issue in typing such a long command, you can just copy it and paste it. If I press enter, this image is converted into the container and it is running in Docker desktop. So to test it, if you come into Docker desktop, you can now see AnythingLLM is running in the containers and the port is 3001. If I click on this HTTP link, HTTP localhost 3001, when I click on it, this is going to open in your default browser. You have localhost 3001 onboarding. So you have this welcome message with get started. I will click on get started and the first option I have to provide is you have the list of all LLM providers and here I am going to select Ollama. You have Ollama model here. If I click on this drop down, I select the Gemma 426B as my Ollama model. I can come into advanced setting here and I will set the Ollama base URL to 11434 port. Leave this default as it is. Then click on the next button and it is going to ask how many users will be using this instance. If others are going to use on LAN, you can choose the option My Team. Then you have to create an account name and account password. I am going to type the account name and then enter the password. I will click next and here it shows me LLM provider is Ollama, embedding preference is AnythingLLM embedder, and vector database leave it at LanceDB. And if you click next, an option to give your email ID, what will you use AnythingLLM for? You can just use for work. I will use it here and then click next. And you are now ready to use AnythingLLM. Now to configure AnythingLLM correctly for my application, I am going to pull in two other models. I will open my PowerShell and I am already using Gemma 426B. But if you have a machine with lesser RAM, it is always better to use Gemma 4 E4B. So in the prompt, I am going to type Ollama pull and I will call for Gemma 4 colon E4B and press enter. It is going to pull this model. This model is around 9.6 GB. So now this 9.6 GB file is downloaded. Verifying the downloaded file and you see the success message. Now I have Gemma 426B already downloaded, and for embedding, that is to embed this PDF files, I am going to call for Ollama pull EmbeddingGemma and press enter. This EmbeddingGemma model, which is around 621 MB, is being downloaded. Now once all my models are downloaded, I will come back to AnythingLLM, click on this gear icon, and in AI providers, I will come into LLM. In Ollama, instead of Gemma 426B, I am going to choose Gemma 4 E4B and click on Save Changes. For vector database, I will leave it at LanceDB, and for embedder, and here in the embedding provider, I will click on this AnythingLLM embedder and I am going to scroll down and come into Ollama. I am going to select EmbeddingGemma latest and I will leave the chunk length at 8192. You can click on advanced setting and leave the Docker internal to the same port 11434 and I will click on Save Changes. Then you have text splitter and chunking. I will leave it at default. Then we have voice and speech setting. You have the provider which is system native, and also text to speech preferences. You have system native or OpenAI. So in this case, we are going to use a third party TTS service which is called as Kokoro, and we are going to install that in our next session. And for transcription, AnythingLLM is built inside with Whisper model. So in model selection, I can select Whisper small or Whisper large and I can click on Save Changes. So if you have more RAM, you can make use of Whisper large. So with this basic setup, we are now ready to use AnythingLLM to convert our novels and story into screenplay and also create production schedules. So with this, we have configured our AnythingLLM and we have kept it running using the Docker. So in our next session, we are going to install an audio tool called as Kokoro TTS and we are going to use it with AnythingLLM.